アクセルアクセル
Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426 and today we have the review of the Shinkocchou Seihou SHF Figure Arts Kamen Rider Accel. So currently you may have noticed my background is different. For those who've seen my video yesterday, I was using a light box and the light box had some issues, and there was basically a few issues I was having, and it was just not, I wasn't really getting the same feeling. So I basically got a smaller bookshelf, remodified it to make it look like my original background, but obviously the wood color is a little bit different. Anyway, let's get on to the review. So as usual, for those who have been in my channel, I have reviewed a good amount of SHF figure arts recently. Granted, they don't get many views, but I just pretty much reviewed them for fun because I really love the Kamen Rider series and I do enjoy collecting the figures. So, you might be asking what's so different of this Shinkocchou Seihou lineup. So basically, if you look at the box here, so I'm just going to move this a little bit to the side and without the stand now because that is getting in my way. So you might have noticed on the top side of the box it still does say SHF Figure Arts. So basically this is within the SHF Figure Arts lineup, but a little bit a much more premium lineup. So I'm not talking in the sense of premium Bandai, but these are basically they took it to the next level. So they're more detailed, they look more show accurate. They even put all the moving small bits into the figure. So yeah. So, and their box style is always in this format, while as a regular or typical SHF figure arts would be like this. So this is a premium Bandai version, but still they will have the figure design on the front, and then the color of the box would follow the rider's theme. So yeah, but for these lineups, they're going to always follow this style of the box. And then when you actually open the box, just wanted to point this part as well. So when you open the box, there should be a blister card or a blister pack that should contain the rider figure itself, and on the bottom line should be another one that contains all the equipment that you need, even the hands and etc. Now, depending on the rider, if it has a lot more stuff, there could be another layer, or it could be just a wider package like this. All right, so before we go on to the actual review, let's see what we got. So in terms of components, so currently I already took out the engine blade. Yes, this is actually called the engine blade. This is the main weapon that Kamen Rider Accel uses. So, and then we get two memories, two Gaia memories. These USB looking things are the Gaia memories from the series. So number one, we actually get the Accel memory, which is actually already attached to the belt. You can actually pull that out, and then this is the engine Gaia memory. So Accel will insert that engine memory into his blade, and then would give him like multiple abilities like electric, steam, and jet, and yada yada. And then we have these multiple hands. So currently, out of the box, you should have these fist hands, your typical fist hands. Other than that, you get some other hands. So you get these fully open hands. You get I believe these are the multi-purpose hands. You get these trigger finger hands, which are actually meant for the engine blade, because there is actually a trigger hole there. There is like a trigger onto the handle. You get these. Now you get two more styles of hands. So I believe these ones are a little bit odd. So let me just take them out right away. So just to give you guys an idea how they look. So you get these semi-open hands, so they're slightly opened up, and then you get these other hands, which is, I am not too sure what these are meant for, but yeah, you get these hands that are slightly open but in an angle. So yeah, and then you might have noticed there's another head. So you might be wondering, oh, is that a extra, spare head if you lose it or something? No. If you look closely, now the rider, this specific rider in the series, he actually sometimes shows up with his visors lights up. So currently, this is the head that his LEDs inside are not lit up. So these are just his, typical, form or face that he shows. And this is the, oh boy, sorry about that. So here I accidentally dropped it, but still looks fine. Here, this is the head that when the LEDs inside are lit up. So it's a very small detail difference, but they actually added this small detail inside the figure, so that is pretty good. All right. now let's get on to the review right away. So as usual, let's go over the the articulation here. So once again, because of my changed background, the light setup might be a little bit different. And just to be clear, right now I'm not using a mic because in my current new room, my voice does echoes and vibrates a lot. So in order to get less of that, I'm testing this out without a mic. Alright, so now let's look at the overall design here. So Kamen Rider Accel, he's the secondary rider from the Kamen Rider Double series. And yeah, I believe this rider is very popular because when its belts came out, it was pretty well sold. And then when the CSM version came out, I believe it sold out right away. And then this is the only secondary rider that actually got like the master grade treatment. Yes, there are model kits of Kamen Rider, and this guy is the only secondary rider that actually got that treatment as far as I know. I'm not talking about the Figure-Eye standard. I'm talking about before that. So yeah. Alright, so the head, let's talk about the articulation here. So keep in mind there's a human, technically there should be a human inside, so obviously some articulation may not make any sense. So, okay, so you can look down that much, which isn't as much as I thought, but still good, okay enough. And then you can go up pretty well, and then 360, I think I can force it, but once again, no need to. Alright, so before the arms, let's get the main body. So you get a really nice decent ab crunch. You can go to side as well. And looking at the back section, we have all these gimmicks, these stuff going on here. Now these are basically just aesthetics at this point, because in this wheel does spin, but in the main series he can actually transform into this self-driving motorcycle form, which is kind of goofy but does see a good amount of action. But keep in mind that that form is not in this figure, so don't try to force anything or you're going to break something. Alright, now let's get the shoulder. Now the shoulders were definitely a little bit odd for me at first. So once again, these are your typical ball jointed shoulder armor. So the armor itself is actually attached to the arm. That is a good thing. So the arms can go 360. Make sure you know where to go, and then you can go to the side almost 90 degrees, and then you do still have your typical 360 twist on the arm itself. And then bend wise, you get a decent bend going on here. Now I would like to mention that this series, don't consider this figure as a 2.0 figure. So there is actually a regular SHF Kamen Rider Accel figure, but that has like a major flaw on the head. They really messed up the proportions and design of the head. So which there is a fix, but it requires you to buy a different pre-owned Bandai figure. So yeah, and overall it's a very old figure, so which is why I think Bandai just pretty much admitted it and decided to make this version as well. So I do think this is the best version to get if you're going to go with the SHF Figure Arts Kamen Rider Accel. Don't get the original, get this if you can. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's going to be much more worth it. Alright, so and I guess I should mention at this point, the rider concept here is based on the motorcycle, which is pretty obvious at this point. So yeah, I think they did a really good job on the design and color scheme going on here. So let's talk about the belt. Now the belt, the Accel driver, definitely looking good, and you are able to pop this off. Well, I'm not sure why this is not focusing at the moment. There we go. So here is the Accel driver, definitely based on the motorcycle handle, and as I mentioned before, you can actually take off the Accel memory and put it inside the belt or into the engine blade. So you can actually open this engine blade up, and then there is a slot here, small hole there, that you can actually insert the Gaia memory. Now I did review the SHF Kamen Rider Accel trial form, his upgraded form, or his power-up form. That does also have the engine blade. However, that one is based on the old mold, so there is no slot there. You can actually still open it, but there's nothing to put inside. There's no slot, there's no memory to take out. So yeah, big improvement. Alright, so yeah, you can take off the belt. It's a very long peg, so you shouldn't have any worries falling off too easily. So I'm just going to take it off for now. And then looking at the legs here, they did a pretty good job on the molding here. Now on the legs here, there is this part. I believe there's a different figure. I believe the old ones, these parts move, but this one does not. So that's actually a pretty good thing. Now we do get a decent side swivel going on here. Going forward should be no problem as well. And then going backwards, a little bit limited because of the overall structure, but I think you can kind of more force it and go a little bit more. Going to the side should have no problems, but although it's not exactly 90 degrees because the armor is colliding. Bend wise, the legs only bend about 90 degrees for some reason, but still, I guess that's enough for a human. And this is a armor in terms of for a human. Looking at the feet, the bottom of the feet, I never noticed this design before in the series, but yeah, it's kind of in an odd shape, but still it works. You still get the 360 twist on the feet, and you do get a decent pivot, and you get a nice forward and backward movement on the feet, and then toe bend is there, but still on the stiff side, although that's a little bit too much for a human. Alright, so we've seen the basics of the figure, so articulation wise, I think this is pretty good, although the leg seems to be a little bit lacking for what it is, but keep in mind this specific figure was one of the early ones to come out, so I believe the ones that came out later, like for example Zeronos and Ixa, which I do have much more articulation going on here. A little bit too much to the point where it's starting to get difficult to handle. But we've seen the basics of the figure, so I think it's time to show you guys some demonstrations. So I'll be right back with the weapons. Okay, I'm back. So here is the first demonstration here. So I decided to go with this specific pose. So in the series, the Kamen Rider Accel would actually hold his his engine memory, press it, and then the Gaia memory would obviously say engine, and then he would slot it into his engine blade. So one thing why I did this is because the hand that was the angled style of open hand, I wasn't sure what this was meant for, because it wasn't really mentioned in the manual as well, but I decided to give it a shot and actually try to slot the Gaia memory into the hands between the thumb and the first finger here, and it actually works. So it kind of looks like it's replicating this, the holding hand for these Gaia memories, because one of the few aspects that I thought was lacking in SHF figure arts was that they, especially for the Kamen Rider line, was that they would be always lacking a hand to hold their main signature item, whether it could be like Gaia memories like these, or progress keys, or gashats and etc. So I always thought that was kind of lacking, but I'm actually happy that I can kind of replicate this. So yeah, as mentioned before, you can actually put this inside the engine blade here and then close it up, and there should be a small window right over here that actually shows the memory right over there. I'm not sure why my camera is having so much trouble focusing today, but still, yeah. And then once you have the engine blade into the hand, you should have zero problems holding it. It shouldn't fall off too easily. Now, I really like the size and length of the show because of this blade, because I think they pretty much matched it from the show. Because in the series, the main the guy who actually transforms into this rider, he actually carries this blade around in his motorcycle, which is a very heavy blade for a human. So yeah, and then head-wise, I swapped out the heads to the LED lit-up version head. So yeah, you can definitely see a little bit more better on the insides, but yeah, it's a small detail. Alright, I think there's only one thing left to show, and that is the rider kick version. Now, the rider kick version for this rider is very different. And now on the box, they just show you guys the typical rider kick pose, I believe here. So here is the box. Yeah. Once again, the pose is slightly a little bit awkward, but there's a reason for that. So because this rider, his rider kick is very different. He does like this backspin kick here, and I think they try to also replicate that, but not really well done. So I think we'll show you guys that demonstration and end it off there. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I tried my best, and this is the best I can do. So I can kind of see why the box has the typical rider kick-ish pose going on there. But still, yeah, I've also learned Taekwondo about 2 years. I know how the kick works, but it's really hard to replicate that, because the rider kick here, unlike a typical rider kick where he just jumps and then goes straight down to his enemy, this one he just does a backspin kick. So it actually kind of graze like the enemy with his right kick, so it's like a slashing move with the feet. So yeah, it's really hard to like replicate, but yeah, but still, this is the best I can do, and that's pretty much it for the review. So you can pretty much replicate all the poses that he does in the series. If there's anything I forgot to mention or didn't mention, is that if you want to hold the belt handles that's on the belt, you can use the multi-purpose hands, and it will fit perfectly onto the handles. Just wanted to point that out. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the review. This was the review of the Shinkocchou Seihou SHF Kamen Rider Accel. Now, I can't say this is considered like a 2.0 because there are certain figures that does have an SHF 2.0, but still, this is much more of a, you know, a better, a upgraded version lineup from the SHF figure art. So there's only a few riders out there, but still, if you're looking for the best version of the SHF figure arts, and if there's a version of this, definitely go for that. Despite how expensive it is. Anyway, thanks for watching the review. This was the review of the SHF Kamen Rider Accel, the Shinkocchou Seihou version. If you guys got any questions or requests, in the comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.